On this week's episode of the MovementRVA podcast, we have a conversation with Outlaw Barbell athlete Riki. We discuss the horrors of Russian squat cycles, how awesome flexible eating is, and why I really hate singlets. But it's like my trademark now. I did it once, now I have to do it all the time because people in the gym walk up to me and they go, "Welcome back." That's how we do it.
All right, is that it? Are
We're
we
here.
in?
Episode 9. Very, very, very excited about this. We have little Riki.
Yay!
Who actually is little. I was like, this name fits perfectly.
Yeah, I'm 4'11".
4'11". She is also 48 kilos, but lifting as a 53 today in the RVA Open. She is an Outlaw Barbell athlete.
Yes.
She is qualified for the Nationals at 48 kilos.
Yes.
What's that in American?
105.6.
105.6
pounds.
For all of you Americans out there. And we're back. Remember, business first, Jake. Go to the YouTube page. Subscribe. Hit the cityscape. If you like us. If you don't like us, hit subscribe anyway.
But give us a 1-star review then.
You'll learn to love us. We will make you love us. Same thing on iTunes. Just search MovementRVA. I'm going to ask for a 5-star review, but like I say every week, I don't really care what you do. Just be honest and tell us what you think. That's the only way we're going to get better.
Yeah.
Honesty.
We're still new. Learning things.
So we're going to jump right into this and do our training goals segment. Jake, have you changed?
My training goals have not changed. I'm still staving off death and trying to be fit. So nothing new here.
Jake has a new baby, in case you don't know, Riki.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's taken a toll on my training. I feel like I talk about it every podcast now, so it's getting old.
It's the most horrible period of his life.
I just need to buck up and train like I used to. So it's just hard to figure out.
I'm trying to be, as always, less fat, and I've moved to flexible dieting.
Yay.
And I'm glad Riki's here because she's an expert, and we'll get into that later. What are your training goals now, Riki?
Currently, just to get stronger. I'm up against a lot of strong girls at Nationals in the 48 division, so I just want to make sure that my strength is up there. My technique is all right. I would say
It ain't bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. So, right now I'm trying to focus on my strength.
Who are some of the other 48s up top?
Right now, there's nobody registered right now, so I couldn't tell you. But I really hope I see Heather Sneathen. She's probably one of my favorites to watch. She's really fast under the bar. There is, I don't know her last name, but Olympic weightlifter Kim.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Oh, she is.
She calls herself
Is that her Instagram
Well, that's her
handle?
Instagram. That's her Instagram.
Everyone's just their Instagram
I know.
name now. That's all. I call people in the gym that are members just by. I don't know what your name is anymore. I just know who your Instagram handle is.
Yeah. So.
I got a machine in my pocket that'll tell me who she is.
Yeah.
You can figure it out.
You guys keep going.
You have one
Yeah,
in front of you too.
She's pretty strong. So I'm a little intimidated by her and her strength. Of course, Morgan King.
Absolutely. Everyone knows who she is.
Yeah.
King Morgan?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
See, Instagram
At
handle.
King Morgan.
At King Morgan?
Yeah.
Is she at the OTC now? I feel like I saw that,
you
but I
know
could be
what?
making it up.
I don't know.
I bet the muscle driver people over there would know.
Yeah, probably. But yeah.
So you said, do you feel like for you to get to the top, do you feel like it's your strength, your technique that's holding you back more?
I want
Or what do you want to work on there?
my strength. I mean, my technique all the time. I mean,
Of course.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a given. I do my snatch needs a little bit of work because I like to jump forward.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that it's my strength that's holding me back a little bit.
And who's your coach, or who you're working with on a daily basis?
On a daily basis is my boyfriend Dan Tominski.
Mm-hmm.
Boom sauce.
Yeah, Boom Sauce.
Does he live up there?
Did you
in
just
New York
womp
with me.
boom sauce?
Because he gets so much attention. Yeah, we live together actually in Long Island. New Yorkers say on Long Island. I'm from
is that a
California.
thing? I
I'm
don't know.
from California.
My
so.
dad's from Long Island, so I know all about it.
Oh, okay.
You got the lingo.
But my coach is my outlaw coach is Rudy Nielsen.
What's Rudy got? I can't even talk on my own podcast. What does Rudy have you doing to get ready for the Nationals right now?
Actually, the person that's doing our programming right now for the Outlaw Barbell is Dave Fleming, Jared Fleming's father. So we're doing a bunch of like Russian squats, Like yesterday, oh my gosh. I shouldn't even worked out yesterday, like before doing this, but I did 2 squats at 100%, which is 245 for me.
Whoa. You squatted 245 for 2 singles.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh
I missed the last one.
What's your weight in American?
For a double?
In American, right now I'm like 112.
Oh my God. I didn't even know it was possible.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You are strong.
Yeah, it's working, that squat cycle.
What's a squat cycle? What's it look like?
So right now we're on a 6-week squat cycle. We squat about 3 times a week.
Is it the one that alternates with like 6x2s and you're
yes, in the 80 at the 80%. Yes, that's what we're doing.
I've done that one many a times with many people. It always works.
Yeah, it's working.
As long as you don't do it too often. You do it like once a year, and I feel like you're always. You hit what? The planned is 105% at the end, something like that.
I think that's what's happening next week.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you just did your big.
It
It was the big 2x2 workout at the end, right? That's what you're going for.
That was.
It's
it
terrible.
was intense.
Yeah.
So that's why, because I know I needed to work on my strength. That I didn't really care to be a 48 here at the Invitationals because I just really want to focus on my strength for nationals.
Do you cut weight to get down to 48? Or you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay, cool. So are you following something kind of like the group, like the online programming, like what Outlaw's putting out?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that Outlaw Barbell,
Yeah.
that's what I do as far as my strength, and then whatever my boyfriend has programmed for me, like that's a little bit more CrossFit-y, but still like I work on like EMOMs and like just different percentages of snatches and clean and jerks.
Do you do any CrossFit?
Yes.
I've seen pictures.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, I do CrossFit.
We're in a CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
It's allowed.
I want to say I probably do the WOD like twice a week, but I don't really do much conditioning these days.
It's pretty sweet. We just had about an hour ago one of my lifters, an exclusive CrossFitter, just totaled 170 as a 63 and qualified for nationals. So it's okay to CrossFit.
Oh yeah, I mean I honestly I've only been weightlifting since September.
So were you purely a CrossFitter before this?
Mm-hmm.
And what made you convert?
Nicole Caperso. So like, I am little naturally, and I used to send her videos of my snatch work and my clean and jerks, and she's like, why don't you just do a meet? And I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. And so I signed up for one last September, and then I ended up qualifying for the American Open, and then Rudy was like, do you want to be on our team? Okay.
That's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
And you snatch up like semi-Nike sponsorship through that too, right?
Yeah,
the whole team's
yeah.
sponsored.
We're sponsored by Nike Weightlifting.
What are the perks of being on the Outlaw team? Other than the sweet Outlaw name that
Let's
everybody
hear
knows.
those. Yeah. And Nike gear.
Oh yeah, the gear. I guess like the reputation, like people think that we're a bunch of badasses. I mean, I'd like to think that I am, but I think I'm too nice.
I feel like you're nice, but you wouldn't hesitate to take care of some business if you had to.
No way. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, I was also in the Marines, so.
You were in the Marines?
Yeah, I'm a tough cookie.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Matt just got out of the Navy.
I just got out of the Navy.
Congratulations.
I did a lot of stuff with the Marines. Just
Yeah.
putting that out there. I'm not a tough cookie, though. So, are those shoes you're wearing, is that one of the perks of the Nike?
No, I wish. No, we only get like training gear. So our shoes.
They can't throw a pair of J's your way or anything?
No. No. So, yeah, just the gear.
Were you at the last, what was it, Nationals and the American Open where they did the big documentary with Sean Cleary?
Oh, yeah. I was in the American Open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you in that?
Yeah.
I watched it.
I was, yeah.
I think I only saw the trailer. It was like a 10-minute trailer, but that's all. I don't know if I've seen the
That
whole
was
thing.
3/4 of the movie.
You have to watch the first segment because I'm in it. Well, not just because I'm in it, but like it's so intense because I snatched, which would have been first place, but I walked off the platform. Like I tripped. And do you
I remember that. Yeah.
That was a 64 snatch, and that would have been first place, but I ended up getting third place for it.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was very devastated and like messed me up.
Where can the people find that documentary if they want it? Do you know?
I think if you go on supercleary.com, that's the photographer. Like if he
Friend
has
of the
it.
show.
Yeah.
So I run the Superfit Games. It's a competition series, and he just did our big championship event in February. So it was awesome to have him on. He did really good work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So go to supercleary.com.
And look for that video. I'm sure if you just like put in YouTube like Outlaw
weightlifting documentary.
Yeah, something like that. American Open 2014.
You guys go look for it.
Yeah.
It's the internet age. You know what to do.
We can find it.
Google it.
So here's my favorite part of the podcast.
Is it things you don't like?
Things we don't like this week. It's more like this week is things we think are weird.
Because it doesn't have to be too serious.
Right.
We called it things we hated a couple weeks
For a
ago.
while, people got so mad. People, I'm not going to go on this again, but I'm going to go into it a little bit. We're just critiquing, honestly, some things that need some critiquing. Mm-hmm. We're just womping things that deserve it.
There's a lot of weird things that happen in our CrossFit community here as a whole, and so it's just fun to talk about it.
Singlets.
So you think they're a problem?
I think they're weird. And I talked to Riki before the show, and she said they're sort of weird.
They're sort of weird.
You've never had to wear one.
I'll never wear one.
I wore one once, and that was enough for me.
And how was it?
I did feel uncomfortable about it, the whole situation.
I mean, I could understand, like, guys. That's pretty weird. Even for girls to see a guy in a singlet.
You're like in a 1920s
But, like,
bathing suit.
But, like, women, I mean, it's just like a bathing suit. Yeah, it's a bathing suit. It is, like, my thighs are a little bit bigger, and so they're a little tight, like the elastic part.
Look at the leg opening, right?
Yeah, that's pretty tight. But, yeah, I guess they're weird.
I had one of our lifters, it was his first meet, and he called me up the night before, and he should be thinking about, like, you know, am I going to go over weight? Am I going to make my openers?
Yeah.
Things like that. He's like, dude, I put the singlet on. And I looked in the mirror, and I don't know if I can do
I
this.
can't go into public like this.
You can't hide anything.
He had to wear like
nothing is hidden.
Yeah, no.
multiple compression shorts, I think, were involved. Like he was very nervous.
Strategic placings of tape.
Yeah. So, I will say it's a uniform. Mm-hmm. So then,
okay, on the uniform argument, I will buy that argument.
I think it lends some, it makes it more of a sport. I mean, it's a growing sport at this point, and it looks a little more legit. And it's a little more authentic.
Do you lift more when you wear a singlet?
I feel like you do.
Let's ask Riki since she lifts a lot.
Well, sometimes I practice in my singlet, and I guess so, because nothing's getting in the way, you know. Well, up in New York, it's still kind of cold, so I'm like working out with zip up, so that will get in the way, or like the strings like fly in my face. So yeah.
Do you do that like on your like heavy single or testing days?
Yeah.
We would do for a while. We do like singlet Saturday because that would be like our typical.
We did singlet
Yeah.
Saturday.
It happened when we had. I don't have a whole lot of active lifters right now, but when we had a good group going on, probably a year or so ago. We, everybody come in, you do your heavy singles, and you'd wear your singlet. You got to get comfortable with it.
Yeah, you do have to get comfortable.
I told Jackie that one day someone should come to a meet with a body paint singlet on.
Like, would it qualify? Would there be?
Would it qualify?
Could you meet the rules? So, maybe like 5 years ago, there was a big rule change with singlets because there was a Muslim girl who wanted to wear something that was full, I think I
remember that.
wrist to ankle. And I think it went up over her head. Like, the only thing was showing her hands, and her face.
Right.
And so now, it's way more flexible because before, the singlet could only go down a certain amount. Like, you couldn't cover your knees.
You had to show some skin.
So now it's really, really flexible.
Show some skin.
That's
Yeah.
part of the sport.
What are they running here?
But before, and honestly, we've always been really lenient with singlets in past meets. But for this one, I made everybody wear a singlet. I said we were trying to look good. We got the live stream. We got a photographer. We got a nice looking stage.
It's a good setup.
Yeah, we're happy with it. I like it. Well, people keep coming up to me and they're like, "This looks so much better than last year." And then they're like, "But no, it looked good every other year." Because I've done like 10 meets or something like that. It's been for like 5 years. And they're like, "Look, all the other ones are good, but this year's really good."
Thanks, jerks. All right, I feel like I'm on the singlet train now. I'll never wear one.
That's all, yeah.
Maybe I'll get one and just
Maybe
wear it
a
alone.
pink one.
You should have your own singlet
Yeah.
Saturday just when you're working out.
In my room.
That's weird.
Full-length mirror. Just kidding. So we don't really have a drink of the day. Jake's sort of drinking coffee.
I'm still drinking coffee because I haven't slept a lot and there's a lot of things to do. So lots of coffee,
I want
as
to talk
always.
about pre-workout drinks.
Pre-workout drinks.
What do you do for a pre-workout drink?
Well, you're talking about powders. I don't take any of like those powders. As far as like a pre-workout drink, I probably just take some coffee, and I am sponsored by this supplement called Koyos. It's a nootropic, and you just pop that pill with some coffee.
I feel like you'd be into that, Matt.
I'm very into nootropics.
Yeah.
You say tropics?
Nootropic.
Tropic?
Nootropic.
Explain to everyone what
Tomato.
Right. Explain to everyone what a nootropic is. Most people don't know.
So it's supposed to do like balance your mind. Have you ever seen that movie? This is how I describe it.
I
The
know what
movie
you're about to say.
Limitless.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. Oh, it was on yesterday. But no, it gives you this huge focus and like mental drive. Everything's clear. And like I like especially using it when I work and I'm like answering emails and like programming for people, because I have a dog and 2 cats and I can easily get distracted. But when I'm on this, it's good stuff. Like, I'm focused.
It's that good shit, as they say.
It is.
So Matt's really into the Joe Rogan podcast, and I feel like Joe Rogan talks about that.
On it
yeah.
has Alpha Brain, which is a nootropic.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. And I have been doing some sort of, it's not real research, but some research on it because I've wanted to take it.
Yeah.
And so I feel convinced now. What is the one you use? Because I might buy
It's called
that.
Koyos.
Koyos.
Yeah, I can give you my discount code.
We'll shout all those out at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jake, do you drink anything before you work out?
For a while, when I was working out a lot, I would do some pre-workout, but it would be it'd be whatever was sort of sitting around, what I could like steal out of someone else's pre-workout.
You shouldn't just take
container.
powders that you find.
I know.
various
It's,
places.
for a while, I would just mix together pre-workout, BCAAs, some dextrose, whatever else I could find sitting around. It was terrible. I don't even feel like it did anything for me. I don't know. I wasn't even working out that hard, so probably not necessary.
Okay. I drink coffee. I can't work out that hard, so it's like I'm not trying to embarrass myself by doing a huge pre-workout ritual.
Yeah.
But I drink coffee.
Yeah.
Usually the same coffee every time.
I'll drink coffee through my workouts.
Yeah, me too.
If I'm lifting, then it's totally okay.
Has to be iced coffee though.
Yeah?
Iced coffee with no ice.
It's here, the Cricchio special.
Can I tell you something that happened to me at a local coffee shop? Did I tell you this story, Jake?
I don't think so.
I'm going to tell everyone this story. So I get iced coffee with no ice because it's already cold. Why would I dilute my delicious elixir?
You're missing out on coffee if they put ice in it.
I'm baristas. Do we call them baristas?
Yes.
They're cool, right? And they don't care. Except one barista will fill me 3/4 away, and I'll be like, "Oh, I don't need room." Very polite. And she goes, "Well, if I give you all that coffee, your 16-ounce coffee will turn into a 20-ounce coffee." And I picked up the cup and I go, "This is a 16-ounce cup. You cannot fill it more than with 16 ounces of liquid."
There's math involved here, and she's breaking the laws of physics right now.
She's breaking the laws of physics. So I said, "Please, I pay for 16 ounces of coffee. I want 16 ounces of coffee in my cup."
And I'm sure she was an employee, and I'm sure that that was probably about a 3-cent difference for the company.
Exactly.
So.
And why did she care? And this is a coffee shop where I will get a $2 coffee and tip them $2 because I like them that much.
Yeah.
So I'm not like an ungrateful, entitled dick. I just want the coffee that I'm paying for.
That's reasonable.
Reasonable. You need to know. This is a new segment, so it's sort of weird. And the transitions are really awkward. Maybe we'll throw music in for transitions.
Absolutely.
Okay, probably
We can
not.
do that in post. We got it.
We'll never do that. What you need to know this week, we are going to talk a lot about flexible dieting. So we encourage you to get the flexible dieting book. Riki can tell you how to get it with a discount that she's associated with.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other good resources for people just digging in like your site? Or is there if they just want to find out enough to say, I want to do this, I want to get the book?
Well, there is the ifym.com. That's the generic spot to start off.
That means if it fits your macros.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't recommend people using that calculator, though, because it's totally off. Really get somebody, a professional, to do your macros for you. But you can get Chrissy's book. It's on ChrissyMayCagney.com, and it's called FD 2.0. And I have a code. It's code GAINS with a Z.
As
Gains
it should
with
be.
a Z, folks.
Yeah, GAINS with a Z, and you'll get half off if you use that. It's a really good book, and
I'm so
even
disappointed.
I still like refer to it. Oh,
I
you
just
didn't
bought
use-
it. I just bought it. I
you
didn't know
did
about the
not use
code.
the code.
We didn't
Dang
have a
it.
code. We didn't. She wasn't our friend yet. Now she's our
Oh,
friend.
yeah.
Guys, we have a 6th listener, and it's actually Riki.
Hello.
She's probably going to listen to the one that she's on, though.
It still counts.
So get that book. Use the discount code. The second half of this show will make a lot more sense if you do that. For right now, though, we're going to take a break.
All right.
Back.
We're live.
We are live. I need to sound more excited when I do these.
I told you sometimes you don't sound excited.
Welcome back. Screaming into the microphone.
I'm just going to have to cut that out because you blew it all out.
No, we're really back, and we want to talk about flexible dieting. And we have the expert right next to us.
Yay.
Ricky's a coach in flexible dieting.
I am a coach.
So can you don't have to be short about this. You can go as long as you want, but can you explain what flexible dieting is?
Okay, in my own words, flexible dieting is not. I don't call it a diet. We call it flexible eating because you really do eat whatever you want, but in moderation. And I think that's the problem with dieters is they're not. They're restricted dieters, but they're not strict dieters, if that makes sense. So with flexible dieting, we just tell you, okay, you need to eat within your macros. And so everybody gets their own custom macros based off a certain formula, which you can find in that book that we talked about.
Right. And a macro, for those of you that don't know, is a macronutrient.
Yes.
Carbohydrate, protein, and fat.
Yes, there's your macronutrients and then your micronutrients. And then the micronutrients is what you would find in like vitamins and minerals. So that's why we still say to eat clean. So you can eat like those whole foods to get your macros in because you want to make sure that you get your macros in before you go and eat what everybody thinks flexible diets are.
Yeah, you get the Instagram pictures of the donuts and the pizza.
Yeah.
A lot of donuts around here today.
That's why a lot of clean
We
eaters.
love donuts.
I love donuts. I'm sponsored by Donuts and Deadlifts.
She is donuts and deadlifts. And after you eat clean, if you still have macros left over,
You treat yourself.
you can have a donut.
Yeah. So that's how I tell people like, so they don't binge. Because I know I have a sweet tooth. So what I do every day is put in whatever treat that I want. Like say I want a donut for the day, I'll plug that in first, and then I kind of work the rest of my days around it. I mean, I eat pretty well throughout the entire day. Like I'm a really boring eater. I eat like egg whites in the morning with some spinach, and then I have a salad for lunch. Then I have I eat like a paleo dinner, and then like I'll have a donut. And when I have a donut, it's like maybe once a week, to be honest.
What do you use to track your intake?
MyFitnessPal, it's an app that you get on your phone. I like using it on my computer. It's a little bit more accurate. So, but yeah, MyFitnessPal, a lot of people use like Calorie King and Calorie Tracker. I'm more familiar with MyFitnessPal, so that's what I use, and that's what I always suggest to my clients.
You said you're boring with your eating. Do you feel like that helps you out? Like it makes it easier to kind of track things day to day?
Absolutely, especially because like during the week we're all into that routine, or at least I am. So I know what I'm going to eat every single day. So say I don't have my phone around me or I just don't track, I already know what my body's supposed to be taking in. But yeah, I probably eat like the same foods every day. I think it's just the weekends that I really need to watch out, and so that's when the phone really comes out and is in my hand at all times, so I track what I'm like if we do go out to eat.
So if someone wanted to hire you for your services, what's that process? And without giving away all your secrets, let's talk about like what you would do first when you first start talking to somebody.
Okay. Well, now they can just go on my website and click on whatever. My website is lilrikifitness.com.
That's Lil, as in Lil Wayne,
Yes.
or Lil Boosie, if you don't know.
Yes. So it's Lil Riki, and it's RIKI fitness.com. But yeah, there's 3 different options. You can get your custom macros, or you could hire me as your coach for the month. It's my Training Wheels package, and I give you my phone number, and I'm there to call, to text, and every day I'm like your on-hands coach. If you need help with anything, I'm there. I'm there to give you suggestions, or just for support. But so when they do come to me, I have them fill out this questionnaire, and it's asking about their weight, their age, their activity level, their goals, what they do for a living, any kind of medical conditions that they have, and then I use that, and the formula is like really hard to like explain. I mean, I would have to show you guys on a whiteboard how I do it,
right.
But you could find it, the formula on the FD 2.0 with that code that I gave you guys, the gains with a Z.
With a Z.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in the CrossFit world have gone through a bunch of different diets.
Yeah.
And I think the one that everyone is most familiar with is paleo. So why is this? Here's my story. I did paleo for a while, and contrary to popular belief, you can get fat on paleo. My
Puffy
activity
paleo.
level was very low, and
What time are we talking about? When did you do paleo? How long ago?
I've done paleo until like 2 months ago. Now I cheat pretty hard, and I go off the rails pretty hard. But I still eat pretty paleo, and I know from I've actually read the book, and I know that a lot of what was written about and talked about was how it compared to paleo and why it was better. But I think the uninitiated don't know why, for some people and some reasons, this is a better alternative to eating just strict paleo.
So the reason why I say paleo is a no-no is because there are no restrictions when you eat your clean food. Oh, it's clean. You can have as much of it as you want. So I was eating like 3 avocados a day.
Same with me.
Yeah, so
It's like 1,000 calories right there.
yeah.
You were eating 3, I was eating 6 a day.
So there's just no structure. I mean, it's good. They teach you how to eat clean, eat well, eat whole foods. But with flexible dieting, you have those boundaries. So you eat like at your own limits. So that's why everybody I call it puffy paleo, because that's exactly what I got.
What does that mean?
Puffy paleo? I got puffy. I didn't look lean like all the other CrossFitters. I didn't have the shredded body. And then when I found Chrissy like over a year ago, and I told her, I was like, well, I want to do flexible dieting, but with paleo. And she just laughed like, okay. And of course I had donuts like that week. But yeah, I started leaning out, and like I can actually see my muscles finally. Like everybody says that, I work out at the gym all the time, but it doesn't show. All my work does not show on my body. Why don't I look like, the games athletes? Because you're not eating at your limits.
So we have at the gym done nutrition challenges, which I think is a pretty popular
Right.
thing for CrossFit gyms to do. It's sort of a way to break people into eating better, and we've always followed sort of a paleo format.
Right.
And sometimes it works really, really well for people, and sometimes not so much. And I think for the reasons that you're saying. So when it would work well is when people would, by chance or by our suggestion, eat paleo, but make it mostly things like, lots of leafy greens and lean meats to get started. And they were, so even without trying to, were controlling their macros to some extent and controlling their total intake. So they weren't, but the people who weren't doing so well were buying pounds of almond meal and then
Having
making
paleo brownies,
paleo brownies and paleo pizza and paleo
cheese sticks,
cheese sticks. I don't even know what's in that. We talked about that, but and so
paleo ravioli.
yeah, so I would get these people to. I use FitDay for our tracking and stuff. Typically, I do like MyFitnessPal. It's pretty sweet. I started messing around with that. They would punch their stuff in, and it would be, without exaggeration, sometimes, like 60% fat, and their calories are through the roof.
6,000 calories.
It's
easy.
And you make a loaf of paleo bread, and it's not better for you.
No.
It's and so we would I would do sort of a troubleshooting thing, and that was our second step, was to start looking at, all right, like, okay, we did this paleo thing, you got halfway through the challenge, things aren't looking so hot. It would be, all right, let's start punching things in and say, all right, let's start looking at certain macros. And I do like looking at the flexible dieting book, is that there's some guidelines there, and they're simple. And honestly, and it even says in the book, it's it's like some of it's old like bodybuilder mentality stuff.
Yeah.
And they say it's like, listen, they always say, hey, a gram per pound of body weight, and it's like that still
For protein,
works.
are we talking about?
Yeah, protein.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Protein.
works really well still, and it's like, people have been saying it, but it's also a really good place to get started. So
Definitely.
I do like how like that again. It gives people something a little more structure, which for some people is really good. Like some people eat paleo and have awesome success, but I think some of that to an extent is chance in their own habits.
Who would you say that it's for?
Everybody.
Everybody.
I have athletes, weightlifters, CrossFitters, powerlifters. I even have people with autoimmune diseases that I work with, PCOS, Crohn's disease. I actually reversed my mom. She doesn't take insulin anymore. She's a diabetic, type 2. And I had her on some macros, and I was actually planning her foods for her. And in 3 months, she just stopped taking insulin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One problem, because I'm on it now, and I like it because, first of all, my issue was I was eating way too many calories for my activity level.
Yeah.
And the book kind of points out a lot of people overestimate their activity levels.
Did you punch in like what you were currently eating to like see sort of where you're at before
I
you
did
got
one
going?
day, yeah, and I was astounded. I was more disgusted with myself than anything. But and I overestimated my activity, because if you have a job other than, like construction, or even here, like if you're not working out the class, you're just walking around, you're not that active. And so I had to sort of suck it up and be honest with myself.
Yeah. Lower
my activity levels to adjust my calories to it. And I like it. I like it because of what you said. I eat really, really clean, actually. But if something comes up or I have calories left over, I can have a glass of chocolate milk.
Yeah.
The problem that I'm running into is in the city of Richmond in Virginia, if you're not from here. But I don't know why people outside the gym would listen to this.
We got 8 listeners.
8 listeners. There's not many chain restaurants that I go to. So what strategies do you suggest if you go to a restaurant where I open my FitnessPal and I can't put in, because there's so much stuff in there.
Yeah, because we got barbecue the other day and you're freaking out.
Right. I could not put it in there. So
the barbecue place that's
Okay.
What do you tell your
one-off,
people?
yeah.
So we're going to a barbecue place. I know there's a chain called Famous Dave's, so you can just use those macros.
And you think those are pretty close?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. And with flexible dieting, it's all about consistency. So say you always go to that barbecue place and you're always going to use Famous Dave's macros or nutrition, then that's fine. Or you can just always overestimate everything. Or you could be plain Jane and order just a chicken breast with your green vegetable and your starch, and then you can kind of guesstimate there, which is really boring.
Can I be a psycho and bring a food scale with me everywhere I go?
That's not psycho, because I do that sometimes.
Okay, that's not psycho.
I especially do that when right before the American Open, we were already in DC probably a week before, and I think I was within half a kilo for making weight. So I was taking my scale everywhere. And so I would order chicken or a piece of steak, and I would bring out the scale with a smaller plate. But it works, though. I mean, for accuracy, you got to do it.
Yeah, day to day, do you feel like you can eyeball what an ounce of meat looks like?
And I'm getting so much better at it. It was so funny. 2 days ago, I think it was, I grilled some steak, and it was our first time of the year to grill. So I was really excited, and I just cut a piece, and I was like, I think this is about 4 ounces, and it ended up being 4.3 ounces.
I wish we had a food scale and some meat right here. We could
do a challenge.
run you through the gauntlet of eyeballing.
I brought a food scale.
Now we just need to find some food.
Yeah.
This might or might not be in the video version of the podcast.
Maybe I'll bring it out. I got some barbecue.
We'll work on that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one issue I had, and I was like,
Yeah.
can I use someone else's? But it
Yeah.
makes sense, especially if you kind of maybe give yourself a 100 calorie buffer and say,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So you think that the accuracy is like there's a little wiggle room? Like if you're day to day, you're 5% over, under,
Yeah. We always say to do plus or minus 5 grams for each macro. I always say to make sure you hit your protein, never be under it. So always make sure you hit your protein, and then if you're gonna be like under anything, like be under fat.
That is the one that I'm always over.
Yeah.
It's so easy to go over. You don't really realize
Because
it's so
you were
calorically
paleo.
dense.
Yeah. You're puffy paleo. I'm flabby paleo. Flaleo. Yeah, that's one I'm working on not going over. 'Cause
So-
I bought fatty meat. I'm used to buying fatty meats because of
see?
paleo.
That's the thing. You need to like buy leaner meats. Use more egg whites. So a lot of people, by breakfast time they're already done with all their fats. And I'm like, well, how many eggs did you use? Well, I had like 4 whole eggs. Well, use 1 whole egg and then the rest get some egg whites in it. So, and then instead of getting avocado, because you know you are going to start measuring it in grams and it's probably going to go brown really fast. So I always say to get the holy guacamole packs, the 100-calorie packs,
Right.
Because it just keeps you accounted for and then they stay fresh longer.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Like more recently, carbs have been the devil in the diet world. You
Sure.
know, and so we looked at also not too long ago the RP, like the Renaissance periodization
Yeah.
diet. And one of the things I noticed right off the bat was that carbs, as you're going through the different cut phases, that was the last thing to go, right? I mean, it was first they would your protein stayed consistent
Always
throughout.
stayed,
Yeah.
And then as you're getting deeper into the diet, they would start to drop your fats. And then at the very last stage, that was when they would start to cut your carbs down. So it's you can definitely see that the things are changing in terms of how people are looking at carbs.
Yeah.
Have you looked at any of that stuff, the RP stuff?
I don't know if I can say this, but one of their clients came to me and complained about them. So,
I did it too, and I'm complaining about it.
So now I have her as a new client, and I saw their format. It's very confusing.
Very confusing.
It's certainly it's much more involved.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you didn't have like the meal plan laid out, like it would be sort of a challenge to figure it out on yourself.
Right,
your
right.
own.
Yeah.
Let's put him on blast a little bit.
Oh, no.
Not in a bad way, in a critiquing way.
Well, yeah, so I found it like a little confusing, and so I can see why. Like, I honestly don't think it's a very sustainable diet. Because okay, sure, you cut weight and like you're really skinny now, and then when they try to eat like normal people, like it's gonna come back on just like any other fad diet. So
Yeah.
that's why I say flexible dieting is like the most sustainable.
And in all fairness to RP, and I said this on an earlier podcast, they say don't do it for more than 3 months. And what I was looking for was a lifestyle, because paleo was a lifestyle, and I just needed to replace what I was doing already with something more effective.
Yeah.
So I would say that I was the problem when it came to RP. I bought something that didn't solve the problem I had.
Yeah.
So I think for like weightlifters or people that need to do cuts, that could be effective. But for something sustainable,
Yeah.
it just wasn't right for me.
Right.
So we called it. We said a fad diet. We used the fad word. What makes flexible dieting not a fad diet?
Because everybody does this diet and they don't know that they're doing it.
That's a good answer, actually. I
So
feel like
it's
you just stumped me right now.
I don't even know what to say. So it's just because it's just a framework, basically. It's just a starting point.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it and it's very adjustable, which I think is a good thing. It's not
Sure.
saying it's just sort of a jumping off point, because the macros can change.
Right.
Even like as your needs
totally.
change and stuff like that. So there's nothing set in stone. It's just more of a process to figure out what you should be eating.
Right, and it depends on what your goals are, I guess. I know I had Nicole Caperso, she was my first client. I had her cut from a 69 to a 63, and then from there we reversed her. We kept her at a 63, but now she's eating like 3,000 calories a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, you could do so many things with flexible dieting.
I think where the faddish part comes in, and you've ranted you did a Riki rant on your blog about this, is when I see pictures of, and I'm going to call them dummies because they're dummies, that are, if you fit your macros, and they have a gigantic pizza and an ice cream and
Yeah.
the ridiculousness.
Yeah.
That's where it gets fatty, because the problem is those pictures lead people to believe that they can have something for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no pictures of the 3 egg white, 1 whole egg omelet that they just
Correct.
consume.
Except she did the other day when she said, my eating's boring, oatmeal.
Oh, yeah, you
and
saw that one,
eggs
yeah.
and greens, yeah.
Yeah. Well, just because those pictures are boring. Nobody likes those, and you post pictures to get a bunch of likes on Instagram. So that's why people like posting donuts and pizza.
Silly.
Yeah.
See,
but
yours took a picture of the actual hard work that goes into doing what you
in
guys
order
are doing.
to get donuts, yeah. But those people are dummies, because that's not what flexible dieting is about.
It sounds like such a nice word. Like we're dummies. Like
Yeah.
I don't know the last time we said that.
Just a bunch of dummies.
They abuse flexible dieting. I call them flexible dieting abusers. Let's talk about refeed. So that's why people post like a whole pizza pie, because they think it's a refeed.
Can you explain what a refeed is real quick?
So a refeed is like when you're trying to like restore all your glycose stores. You're like absolutely depleted, or you're hangry. Hangry with an H.
Yes, I've been there.
Hungry,
No.
angry.
I'm not familiar, but other people are.
Oh yeah, hangry, hungry, angry. Or you need that like mental break from dieting. So you take a refeed, and a lot of the leaner people probably take 1 week or like once every 2 weeks. And what you do is increase your carbs like by a certain percentage. It could be like from 50 to 100%, and then you decrease your fat. And so it's all controlled, and it's supposed to be structured. It's not just a free-for-all, have whatever I want. But that's the problem that a lot of people don't understand with what a refeed is, and then they think like, I'm just going to have this whole pizza.
Do your calories stay set? Like as you're dropping the fat, or does it go up a little bit?
I've noticed on mine that the calories are the same.
Okay.
Yeah, the calories are pretty much the same, because 1 gram of carb is 4 calories and 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, so it kind of like balances out.
Is that something also, like if someone's stalling out, like they're not seeing progress for a
Yes.
few weeks, is that part of that process, or do you do something different there?
It is part of it, so that like when I have a client that is starting to plateau, the first thing I say is like, okay, let's try a refeed before we do any adjustments on your numbers, because I want to make sure that they're eating as much as possible while still making progress. So we try a refeed. Okay, that worked. Yay. So keep going. Or okay, it didn't work. So now let's just slightly adjust your macros a little bit.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, that's something that's sort of like old logic too. Like people have talked about doing things similar to that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's cool. It's like you guys are collecting sort of some things that have been around for a while, having a nice package and like a way to move forward from it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the last thing, speaking of like conventional wisdom, I see how it works for someone that wants to lose weight.
Yeah.
I see how it works for someone that wants to maintain weight.
Mm-hmm.
What if you're a hard gainer and you want to gain weight? How do you use flexible dieting to do that for you?
So when we use that formula, first we're going to find out what their maintenance calories would be, just to maintain. And then from there, you can increase their calories like 2 to like 450 calories. And then you'll normally...
Is that per day or per week?
Per day. And what I like to do, I set their protein at that goal weight that they want, or a little bit more than that. And then I'll increase like the fats and the carbs, like whatever they have left over, with like that increased amount of calories that they gave them.
So if they wanted to weigh 225, you'd have them take in 225
to 230-ish, yeah,
of protein, and then have everything else adjust around that.
Uh-huh.
So I've at certain points in my life gained lots of weight.
Notorious hard gainer though.
When I started training at all, I was this height and probably like 150 pounds, which is weird.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's strange.
He was little Jake.
And then as soon as I started doing CrossFit and lifting regularly, I went up to like 175.
Uh-huh.
And then I think I got up to like about 210 at my heaviest. That was like, but I was doing it with like gallons of chocolate milk.
Uh-huh.
So
Can
why?
you please tell them how you really did it? With gallons of chocolate milk, pounds of peanuts, and then whole cans of coconut milk.
So you talk about being boring and like structured in your diet.
Yeah.
I knew that I had to have a certain amount of calories in every day to have like any chance at all of like gaining weight, because I think I had to get up around 5,000 or 6,000 a day, and don't have an appetite.
Was this at the height of strongman?
Yeah. Or maybe like the earlier days of that.
When you were going to nationals?
Yeah, so I would, it would be like, okay, I'm going to have a gallon of milk. Sometimes it's chocolate milk, like a pound of peanuts, a can of coconut milk. It was mostly fats. Why shouldn't people do that? Why shouldn't you take it in with terrible foods and like 80% fat?
Well,
Other than the fact that you're just disgusted right now.
yeah.
You're just sick.
Revolted.
That's so
Hashtag
gross.
revolt.
But I will say I didn't have an appetite. So we go back to the 9 calories per gram for fat. That was like a
Best bang for your buck.
that was my excuse.
Yeah. Well, being a CrossFit or weightlifter, we do need more carbs than fat, and I give like the higher fat to like endurance people, like all my marathon runners, triathletes, but that fat's just turning into fat because it's
She's
too
so
much.
disgusted.
It just sounds really gross. I mean, how did it
was
make you
pretty
feel?
gross. It was also a short-term solution. So I would
Okay.
do that for, like, I could find that I could gain 10 pounds really fast.
Yeah.
But I couldn't sustain that. Like, I couldn't keep eating like that. So I'd do that in like a month. Like I said, a certain amount of time, and I'd eat certain things every day. And then I'd go back to eating well, drop my calories some. And I've found that if I stayed at sort of maintenance for a long time, I would lean out at that weight. But it was like a very sort of like up and down process. It was tough. But so, I mean, I guess you guys would do something very different there.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I mean, I felt bad because I was drinking chocolate milk in the summer and like outside working out.
Left it in the backseat
I
of
would
the car
lift and
for a while?
I would lift and drink chocolate milk. And we didn't even have AC in the gym, so who knows how long that chocolate milk
That
was
makes my
out.
stomach turn.
Jake, you've disgusted us on this podcast.
That's what I'm here for.
Is there anything else you think we should know about flexible dieting?
Let's talk about the zone.
Oh, the zone.
Oh.
Okay, so we've had this gym since 2007. I went away for a while. So all my references to CrossFit, everyone on the podcast knows this, is to like ancient CrossFit, where the zone was king.
I mean, I assumed that they're still doing it, teaching it in the
I
level
think
ones.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay.
Yeah, because I went to maybe 2006. I don't remember when I went to my level 1. But yeah, they did the zone. It was like Nicole Carroll was there and Glassman was there, and they did the zone.
So I would say that
lecture.
this sounds very much like the zone to me, as a guy that's kind of the last nutrition advice I ever heard.
Yeah. Okay. So I could understand why people would think that it's like the zone, but the difference between the zone and flexible dieting is that flexible dieters don't eat in blocks. So you don't have to have your certain amount of protein, carbs, and fat in every single meal.
Right.
If I just want to have oatmeal for breakfast, I'm just going to have oatmeal.
Yeah, I remember there's some like pseudoscience about the protein, the hormones coming from that, they're released when you're eating protein compared to insulin spikes and things like that. But really, I guess we're looking at flexible diets almost like if you just had blocks for a day. Like if you could look at it that
over
way.
the
Yeah.
day. So those of you that don't know, really quick, the zone was a macronutrient-based diet like flexible dieting or flexible eating, except you had to eat your macronutrient proportions within each meal instead of over a day, like we just said.
Right.
So
I liked, and kind of like what we were talking about in terms of making these adjustments, Rob Wolf, before he got kicked out, when he was still doing the nutrition seminar,
kicked out of CrossFit.
he was doing the zone, but there was significant adjustments to it. You would be doing the zone with like multiplying out your carb blocks. Instead of having their recommendations, suddenly you were adjusting the number of carb blocks you're having or fat blocks, just again, depending on your training and your needs. So what it was, I guess the similarities there is that you have a framework, you have a way of measuring everything. I mean, a little bit different approach, but it was cool for back in the day because, again, you had at least a jumping off point. You knew what you're going to eat, and then you could, if you weren't feeling good, you weren't losing weight, you could adjust your blocks. And then here with you guys, you adjust your macros for the day.
Right. Yeah.
Let's sum up flexible dieting for everyone. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to try to do it.
Okay.
Flexible dieting is not a diet.
Correct.
It's a plan for eating for life.
Yeah.
It's based off of your body weight, right?
Yes.
Calories are proportioned off of what you need depending on your goals.
Correct.
And then your macros, your fats, proteins, and carbohydrates are split according to your activity needs.
And you can always adjust the carbs and fat. Some people have a taste for fat, so you can give them a little bit more fat than carbs. But just enough carbs so they're not dying in their workouts.
Right. Carbs are not evil anymore.
No, they're not evil.
Is there anything that you want to plug as we come to the end of our show?
No.
Well, I'll plug Lil, like Lil Wayne, Riki with a K, fitness.com.
Yeah.
She can help you with this flexible dieting stuff. Your sponsors?
My sponsors are Donuts and Deadlifts. If you want a discount on that, it is Lil Riki, Lilriki. And then we have that Koyos that I was talking about that you can get on mentaltitan.com.
How do we spell that?
Koyos is Koios.
I'm going to have to listen back to that just to even process those letters.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. But it's mentaltitan.com. And if you use the code Riki, Riki, everybody always spells it wrong, you can get 25% off.
And if people want to find you on social media, where should they look?
Instagram, my handle is at Lil_Riki_.
Jake, do you have anything you want to plug?
No, I'm good. I plug every business of mine every time.
Every
so
time,
we
all
don't have
5
to do
businesses.
it today. We're good.
All right.
We're signing off.
Yeah, I'm glad you came. It was a fun time.
It's fun.
Sign us off, Jake.
All right, guys, it's just exercise.